on a good topic. They're all good topics, right? They're all worthwhile subjects, every month in some way. But this month is Joy Month, right? Mudita, joy. Uh, mm, one of the four important. It's a core. It's one of the four immeasurables. One of the important Brahma Viharas, mudita, joy. And it's considered to be sympathetic joy, empathic joy, but also joy turned toward oneself. And I want to speak about that this morning a little bit. And I want to speak about the cultivation of joy. This is something that we don't think to do. We don't imagine that it's something we can do. Either joy happens or it doesn't. There are a lot of things that we will happen in an interactive way with life, but not something that we necessarily invite. Not something that we necessarily invite. One of the cool things in Buddhism and in Buddhist psychology is this notion of bhavana, the cultivation of wholesome mind states, mind and emotional states. Bhavana, Bhavana, bhavana. And it's not only mindfulness that's cultivated. Now, we've talked about that before. Of course, we're orienting toward mindfulness. We're orienting in that direction. But other wholesome mind states are very much emphasized in the tradition. Yeah. And there are a couple that we work a lot with gratitude. You already know this. We work a lot with gratitude. We invite that in regularly. One of the cool things about cultivating bhavana, an emotionally positive heart-mind state, is that it tends to arise more at other times in one's life. Yeah. So we've been practicing gratitude a lot, and gratitude starts to show up a lot because we're familiar with it. We lean toward it. We encourage it. We invite it. And another one that is possible is joy, the cultivation of joy itself. Yeah, the cultivation of joy itself. This is something that we do, that Susan and I do. We go out of our way to cultivate joy. Even when there's, you've heard us say that one of our vows was making magic out of the ordinary. Part of it is bringing joy where joy is not obvious. It's not obvious. It's just, oh, this is just ordinary. Yeah. And we take the ordinary and make it light, make it delightful. We'll say something silly late at night. There are two things we do late at night. One is gratitude practice, and the other is being playful. Or I get downright silly. You could check this out with Susan at times, just for the sake of bringing laughter, bringing joy, bringing that uplift of the heart. Make out of nowhere, something will come to mind, and it will making something extraordinarily playful about it, and then ramping it up a little bit, And I do that regularly. I mean, I do that almost every night. Isn't that true? I do that all the time. We laugh a lot together. At nothing in particular. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. We create it to be so. We create it to be playful. We create it to laugh. You've probably read about laughing. Some of them have laughing yoga and if you checked all this stuff out, if you checked this out, any of you, I did once. I saw a YouTube video. I haven't had the nerve to do this on the Red Line here in Boston, but this guy gets on a subway, and as the subway starts rolling, he just starts laughing hysterically. And at first, people are like a little flipped out, but he keeps it up. He keeps it up. And the thing about laughter is at a certain point, it is kind of contagious. And suddenly one person after another start getting into it. Nothing has been said. There wasn't even a joke preceding it. Do you know what I mean? He's just laughing and laughing and laughing. And I'm watching the YouTube video and going, this is nuts. And I start giggling, right? It's like that. It's like, what does it mean? How can we actually, because we're so much better at cultivating a focus on what hasn't gone well. How I could have said something better. How, oh, that's something isn't fair. Something isn't right. The world is fun. The world is as the world is. There's no room for joy. Not immediately. Not if I look at the news. That's one of the reasons I don't look at the news late at night. We have a rule about that in this house. No texts, no emails, no news. Right? Gratitude, yes. Joy, yes. Yeah. We just don't think to do it. I'll walk down the street. As we're walking down the street, there are a lot of places that the mind will go. Many of them are not positive. If I just let the mind run, the wandering mind, the negativity bias is baked into us. Okay, it's not a defect. There is a tendency to be looking for the other shoe to drop, to think about what isn't working, what isn't happening, what should be better, what could be better, how I could be better, how the world definitely could be better. Blah, 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 blah. I can walk along and be not such a great move by the time I get somewhere, because I've allowed the mind to go to just take that path. Yeah, and I'll interrupt that path. You know, and I'll just think of something positive, something really delightful, something that might have happened, just the day before, something that just happened with my cats this morning, something that or I'll focus on the lovely thing that's right in front of me, the lovely tree, the leaves are starting to turn, something upbeat, something upbeat, something upbeat, as a practice. We don't think of that as a spiritual practice. It is a spiritual practice. It's bringing uplift. It's bringing uplift into my own heart. If I'm bringing it up into my own heart, I'm bringing it into the world. And we do it when we encounter people. We do it all the time. We've told you this. We can do it all the time. We'll comment to somebody. We'll say something that somebody will feel seen by what we say to them. It brightens up. We're bringing joy. We're bringing connection. We're bringing joy in a moment here, in a moment there. Another way to practice joy. Every time I go to Stop and Shop, we never go to Stop and Shop without commenting some way to the person who's checking us out. Nobody else that we can tell is commenting to these people. It's all transaction, no connection. Yeah? The simplest thing. Have you seen the whole world that the people are doing with their nails these days? Well, a lot of the people at Stop and Shop are into the whole nail thing. All you have to say is, those are amazing nails. Wow. And you have just lit that person up. Why don't we do that? I'm asking you, why don't you do that? Something like that. Something like that. When you're interacting with someone, when you're making a purchase, when we've got 30 seconds, they're frenzied. nonstop doing their thing. Nobody's connecting with them. To us, it's completely obvious that most of the world doesn't do this simple thing, which is just to acknowledge the person that's in front of us in some light, lovely way. Yeah, it's bringing joy. It's bringing a moment of joy. It's the practice. This is the practice of interpersonal joy, bringing something in a moment. How would I do that? How would I basically compliment someone in a way that feels just simple, right in front? So I'd like you to encourage all of you to play with that a little bit, to see what it's like, just to bring it forward, not wait for something to happen that calls forth joy, but be the one who calls it forth in small moments. We're not talking about grand things here, we're talking about small moments in our day, small moments in our interactions, and small moments in the ways we whisper things into our own ears. Yeah. So that's part of our practice. And gratitude and joy are two of our big ones. Mostly you've heard us talk about the gratitude practice at night. Yeah. But joy is another one. That's a real regular part of our thing. I may have told you this story, but when Susan she worked at the mental health center at Harvard for several years, and at times, and she had her office was the closest one to the waiting room. And whenever I'd have to go in there early to meet her, maybe at the end of her time for the day, I'd be out in the waiting room, and there would always be laughter coming from her office. And she told me, I'll never forget. She would tell me, and more than one, I couldn't believe. At first, I thought it must be just a moment, just a coincidence, but it would happen pretty regularly. And she'd say, "There's no reason why there can't be joy, even in difficult work." Yeah. So, thank you for listening. Let's practice together. Now, let's open up. Let's open up. And when you're ready, lightly closing the eyes. Sometimes for me, right at the beginning of a meditation session, gratitude is there, but also the joy. Breath is still moving. It is still moving. and orienting towards settling. And softening. Softening and allowing. last few minutes of the meditation, settling back a bit more. And receiving. Maybe receiving with a hint of joy. Thank you, everybody. It's so good to see you all and practice with you. Yeah.